Welcome to day 4 of not leaving the apartment. Why do you ask? Well, because it looks like this. Womp womp womp! I use disposable paper palettes because I can just toss them when I'm done. But this one I didn't toss and the paint was wet and I dropped it on the ground. Then I apparently stepped on it and walked everywhere with it. So there's blue specks all over the carpet now. You can follow my trails. It's like Blue's Clues. I really like this carpet actually. I got it for like 80 bucks I think on Wayfair. This is the same carpet that I got in my studio in California. So now I have 2 of the same carpets just on 2 sides of the States. And in my last YouTube video I varnished these 2 pieces and I tape these up before I gesso them so that I don't get any gesso or paint on the sides, and then when I'm done with the varnish I can then peel back this tape around it. So I did the same for both of them. And then this is an example of what it looks like when you remove the tape. It's just a natural wood finish, which I think is nice and clean and classy. Some people like to paint the sides and I'm just not that kind of person. There's people that paint the sides and people that do not paint the sides, and I am the latter. All right, so I finished painting Charlotte. Meet Charlotte. I was really happy with it. I used quite a bit of white in this side over here, and white is one of those paints that takes a little bit longer to dry than others. So I had to let it, dry, and for the varnish that I'm using, you don't have to wait 6 months. 6 months is a really long time, especially if you're trying to move work and push work, or you have a show coming up or something that, requires you to be on a schedule. I finished this painting, I waited for it to be touch dry, and then I applied Gamvar picture varnish. I did a blend of satin with gloss. I didn't want it to be extremely glossy. Like a lot of my artwork has this varnish on it that makes it so liquidy that it looks like it's wet paint. When I'm painting water, I like that look. It looks like it's alive and it's moving. But in some cases, I feel like it makes it so shiny that you can't really see the image unless it's under the right lighting. So in this case, I decided to do a blend of half satin, half gloss, and I mixed it all together. And I've experimented with that before in the past, and I remember liking it. Sometimes a matte look is better. It just kind of depends on your preference and what you're looking for, what your aesthetic. But the varnish is kind of like the last finishing touch. And then once the varnish has dried, I've waited a few days, now I can peel off the tape that was protecting the edges. When I'm painting on wood panels, I like to leave the edges natural. It just shows you what kind of products you're using. A lot of people paint typically on canvas linen, and then they frame it, but with wood panels, you don't really need a frame if you don't want one. And especially with these circle wood panels, it's really hard to find a circle frame, so I don't even think you need one personally. So I decided to leave this a nice natural wood finish and peel away the tape. Make sure you get a tape that's not too adhesive, otherwise this would be a nightmare. Depending on how you're peeling, if you're peeling against the grain, you might rip off some of the wood, but if you peel with it, you should be fine. And with wood, if you end up peeling off some of the wood, you can just sand it down and you're good to go. And yeah, this is not as aesthetic as those videos of people peeling back washi tape. This is not a washi tape video. Find yourself in the dark web of the YouTube sidebar column. And voila. Hey. We're gonna go hang out over here. Ta-da. So, not to interrupt on this little YouTube video, but if you have any questions or comments, anything you want to know more about, what type of varnishes I use or how much I apply or what brushes I use, questions like that, if you ask them down in the comment section below, I'll get back to you. If I was this extremely popular, out of this world, untouchable guy, I probably wouldn't see your comment, but I'm just starting out with my YouTube really, so the more people interact, I'm actually able to answer those questions. So if you do have a question, don't hesitate. Don't be a stranger. Make yourself at home. Would you like some tea or coffee? The response I got to my last video was overwhelmingly positive. I wasn't expecting so many people to like the kind of content I posted. I was just like walking you through my day on, you know, what a typical day as an artist looks like. And it wasn't extremely educational. It was more just vlogging, which I'm not really used to, but I think people can relate to those in-between moments when like it's all maybe not that interesting or kind of just like being awkward and maybe showing a little bit more of my personality. A lot of my videos are like very direct and very serious, and like I can be a very serious business person, but then I have this other side of me that's just a total freaking weirdo. So maybe I should start showing that side more. Yeah, so if you see me wearing a hat, it's because my hair is not done and I just decide to, you know, go on with my life. But today is going to be another busy day. This whole week was like, I need to work. I'm going on vacation next week. So I was like, okay, I need to clock in some serious hours in the studio. The to-do list items for today is primarily focusing on the painting that is on the easel, which is a circle panel that's quite large, and it's featuring Madeline on a windowsill. So I really want to start, you know, adding some more depth and more color and more contrast in that painting. I prepped a bunch of canvases and you need to let them cure before you start painting on them, and I think it's been enough time. They said wait about 3 days, and it's been a little over two and a half, so I think I can start working on those. So I think I might start and paint another landscape. Feeling very adventurous. I think that should be all. We are administering, how do you say it?
Administering.
We're administering the wave face patch and christening it to Madeline's jacket. Oh. Oh. Thank you. Wave face. Is it sticking?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It works! Beautiful.
Beautiful.
But the real star of the show. Show your abs more. I haven't posted any thirst traps in a while, so it's probably because I have that winter bod going. What route did you go down to become an artist as a full-time job? I went down the route of trying to do graphic design and hating it, and working as a server in a restaurant to earn an income while developing my craft and developing a community and developing a system of making earnings and sales from my art. You know, finding representation in galleries, you know, figuring out ways to monetize this craft without losing integrity or losing enjoyment in it. I definitely earned a lot of money from doing art with serving, and then now that I'm doing just art, there's definitely a lot more pressure. There's not a consistent source of income. I'll make a sale and, you know, on a painting and be like, awesome, I can like relax for the next month, but like now I need to like make another sale, and it's like, okay, well, thinking differently where it's like I was making a lot more money before, but now I have a lot more time, which means that now that I have more time, I can work on my art. Figuring out other sources of income and diversifying it is probably what I'm focused most on right now. I'm trying to develop, you know, different avenues of income streams. So like one would be like selling products through my online store, like prints and merchandise. Another one would be like selling originals, selling auctions, selling through galleries, taking commissions, you know, doing collaborations with brands and sponsorships. There's options, but I have to like find some of them, or if I find one that works, I need to like expand on it and get better at it. But I didn't just like go, oh, I love art, I'm gonna be a full-time artist. It was like, oh, I love art, I need to figure out a way to set myself up so that I can go full-time artist and not go into a complete panic, which it has happened several times since I have. I did come to Rochester and I got a job because I was like, I miss being social, like I have no friends, like I'll just get a job in a restaurant. And so I got a job in a restaurant and I was like, I just want to work 1, maybe 2 days a week. And then they started scheduling me 3 times a week. And I was like, no, like I can't work here anymore. The restaurant industry never fulfilled me in the way that art has, and so trying to figure out a way to make art be the center and focus of my life, that's been enough of like a push to be like, just go for it, try it, see where it goes. So I'm currently listening to a conversation between Ryan Holiday and Chase Jarvis on Creative Live on his channel on YouTube. It's talking about his book, Finding Stillness, and I'm listening to this podcast because I felt stressed out today and I've been procrastinating for most of the morning. And the reason being is that I'm working on this piece, which has a lot of subtleties in the shadows, which is really complicated. I'm not really used to that. There's very slight changes in tones. I just knocked over a tripod, don't worry about it. But yeah, let me adjust the light. So yeah, when there's a shining light above it, in the shadows, there's these like warm undertones and like blue glows. So when you're standing back, you're like, oh yeah, I see it, I feel it. And then the buildings, I'm not sure if I want to render them fully or leave them kind of more abstract. I have a lot of style choice decisions I need to make. Also, the painting is wet and I'm doing a lot of detail work, and so I have to rest my hand on something. So I'm resting it on the building and I'm just getting my hand covered in paint. I'm getting in the habit of wearing gloves because there's supposed toxic chemicals in each of these paints or paint materials. I never used to get paint on my hands because I would work in multiple layers. I'd use a lot of liquid medium. And so the paint would dry within 6 hours to 8 hours. So I could do maybe 2 sessions in one day, or I could alternate between one piece and another and come back the next day with a fully dried piece. But since I started using a different medium, the paint stays wet for longer. And so I have to rest my hand somewhere, and I end up resting it on areas that I've already painted. I try to think about working top to bottom so that I can rest my hand down below, and working left to right so that I can paint on the left-hand side and have my right hand resting on something. These are like little things that I think about subconsciously, but when I talk about it, it makes sense maybe to others. Yeah, this piece is kind of stressing me out. It's fun, it's like a challenge, but it's like a stressful challenge. So having stepped away from the canvas and come back after about an hour or so to have some coffee, I realized that some proportions are a little bit out of whack. Not that it looks off per se, but I realized that her shoulder was a little bit too far down, so I had to raise it up. It gives her more of that body position of resting on her elbows and kind of having her shoulders pushed up. It changes the vibe or the energy of the piece quite substantially, and it's very subtle, but those little things can go a very long way, especially when painting portraits or figures. The way the model holds themselves and their body language and facial features really showcases an emotion or tells a story, and the viewer interprets that through this very muted scene because they can't actually tell you what they're thinking or feeling. So that's where you have to rely on composition, proportions, and those light subtleties and physical features to tell a story. It's almost 6 o'clock. Solid painting session. I waited till this afternoon to start painting, mostly out of fear, I would say. I wasn't really sure where to start on the painting, so like I'd come to the room, I'd look at the painting, sit down, stand up, go to the kitchen, get some chips, come back, look at it, sit down, start watching a Netflix show, go back to the couch, come back, look at it, pick up a brush, clean it. Like I couldn't figure out a way to just sit down and paint, and then I was like, just freaking do it, just do it. And so I did. I'm gonna take a quick break and snack or maybe make some dinner and then hopefully come back and do another painting session. So we'll see. So about a year ago, I started this Instagram page called 6x6 Auction, where I auction off these 6-inch by 6-inch wood panels painted with oils. I feature seascapes, portraits, landscapes, and I list them on Instagram and let the people decide the price. The listings typically go for 24 hours, so this one was recently posted. So I realized that writing down things has actually helped me exponentially in terms of relaxing my mind, allowing me to see exactly what I need to do and see actionable steps for each of those things. And then that way I can tackle them one at a time. I don't have to feel like I have this weight of all of them all at once. It's more like, okay, just select one of them, work on it. If I get tired from using, all the energy for that subject or that to-do list item, then I'll switch over to another one. I might take a break, get some coffee, watch a little short episode on Netflix or, hang out with Madeline or something. But seeing exactly what I need to do and then following through with each of them and checking those little boxes, it's like, yes, like I'm doing it. I'm finally getting there. And then I think just building routine of relying more on systems and habits and rituals and to-do list items, it just really helps with alleviating the stress and then also just working at carving and chipping away at those, items that may take several hours, if not days, and sometimes weeks. So overall, I'm really happy with how this week is going by. This video was a compilation of 2 days kind of combined. I was wondering if you could let me know why exactly you liked this video. Was it that there's a nice variety in terms of like working on side projects, like working on posting auctions and doing Instagram lives and doing marketing things and uploading to my website? Or if you're more interested in like the painting aspect of like actually seeing me work on canvases and mixing paints. Were you interested in more in seeing just what a day looks like? Or are you more looking at like educational tips? Like how do I achieve that kind of level of realism? Or like how do I mix these colors in a way and place them on the canvas to achieve a certain effect? I'm just trying to figure out how to best create or curate videos so that they're either educational or entertaining or inspiring. Being a full-time artist is extremely stressful. I'm finally realizing that now. Having a job was really great to alleviate a lot of that stress because the income came in whether or not I was selling paintings. Like, yes, I've been selling work for about 3 years consistently, but the amount of work that I need to sell to live a lifestyle that I enjoy is quite high. I like to travel, I like to eat well, I like to shop, and now that I'm as a full-time artist, I have to cut back on so many things that before I never even had to think about. So it's like, do I get a job again and then paint on the side like I've been doing it for the last few years, or do I just try to stick it out and do a whole year of just not working any job and working full-time as an artist, that's kind of like where my mindset is. I'm like, can I be patient and be poor for a little bit to figure out a way to make more money, without having a job? Or should I just, bite that bullet, get a job, save, and then have more savings than I do now to alleviate some of that financial pressure? So thanks again for watching. That might be oversharing. Oh well, who knows? Thanks for all the support. Thanks for the engagement. Thanks for asking thoughtful questions. And, a lot of the people that follow me, they engage with my posts, they ask questions, they write messages, they email, they, comment on my videos, they, participate in Instagram lives, they actually buy, items from my online shop, prints, merchandise, like that patch that I just showed in this video. I think I've sold like maybe 100, 150 of them, which is really cool. And I want to do more things like that. So if you have any ideas for like merchandise or items that you'd like to see more of, please let me know. Thanks for being my friend. Thanks for listening. Thanks for caring. Being an artist is a lot of hours on your own. So being able to share the work that I do and be a part of a community, that really makes it all worthwhile. So thanks, and catch you in the next one.